everybody. Folks, my first guest tonight is an Emmy and Olivier award-winning actor you know from Predestination, Memoir of a Snail, and Succession. She is currently starring on Broadway in The Picture of Dorian Gray. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Sarah Snook. Hi.
Hi.
Lovely to have you back. Are you enjoying New York?
Yes, greatly so. It's amazing. I mean, audiences here are so good.
Are they lovely?
So nice.
Here's the play. You're on Broadway starring in a production of The Picture of Dorian Gray that turns the Oscar Wilde novel into a one-woman show. You play 26 characters.
Yes,
okay.
I do.
No other actors you want to share the stage with at this point of your career. It's you or nothing at this point.
It. No, at this point in the run, I'm like, can someone else want to come on stage for a moment?
Well, were you familiar with the story before you took on the? No, you didn't know it.
No,
you know the basics, like there's a picture in the attic and.
Yeah, there's the deal with the devil, sort of, you know.
Sure.
That kind of stuff I knew, but I hadn't read the text at all, which was great then to know that I was doing it and then diving into the actual book. It's such a great book.
So it's you, 26 characters. You're speaking. How long is the play?
The play is an hour 55.
And it's just you talking for an hour 55.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Are you being paid by the word? Because I would.
I mean, look, there's 60,000 words.
60,000 words. Is the novel 60,000 words?
No, if I did the whole novel back to like front to cover, back to back, it would be 15 hours, and no one wants to see me do that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't want to see me do that.
It's okay. It's a high wire act. There's a lot of choreography. There's a lot of technology involved. I can't imagine it's always gone smoothly.
Oh, you know, there's technological things that are involved in the show, and so of course.
Well, sure. Well, I get to stop cameras and take it again. You don't get to do that live on Broadway. You can't just say, "Let's just take it back from the top, everybody."
Yeah. You heard that bit. Let's do it again. No, I mean, things do go wrong. Something went wrong the other night, and I just had to keep rolling and barreling through.
Wow.
Do you know, I made a mistake, and the director was in the audience, and I said, "Did you notice I accidentally never done this before, but someone put the seed of idea in my head, and I accidentally did the wrong voice for the wrong character." And I asked the director if he knew, and he said no. I guess I'm not very good after all then.
But 60,000 words, I mean, to learn 60,000 words. And one of the things that's kind of amazing, I had a teacher once who said, sometimes actors, people will come backstage and go, "Oh my God, how did you remember all those lines?" But it really kind of is miraculous. How do you remember all those lines? And do you remember all those lines?
Do you know, if I started halfway through, and sometimes when I'm getting a note from the director, he'll be like, "This bit," and I go, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't start.
Yeah,
I got to start at the beginning and then go all the way through. I mean, I really would need to think about it to pick up the thread halfway through.
And you've never gone up on your line?
I mean, on the first in London, I did. Not here. In London.
No, we have high standards in New York. In London.
No. That's why we did it in London.
Exactly. At first, Olivia, congratulations,
Sure,
Olivier Award and all that.
Thank you.
And that's why we got into this business. But. So when did you go? What was that? That's a wonderful feeling.
It's not a wonderful feeling when you forget your lines.
Yes.
No, Olivia was a wonderful feeling, yes. But no, in the first preview in London, I completely dried.
First time there was an audience.
Yep. I suddenly got
How far in?
7 lines in.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty high. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, the fortunate thing about this particular show is there are camera people around me all the time, so I just stared down the barrel of the lens and went, "Line." And the person said the line. Rose very kindly gave me my line, and I couldn't hear her because she was so nervous about saying a line too loudly, and so I was like, "No, line." And unbeknownst to me, my husband in the audience was shedding his scarf and his jumper. He was like, "Oh my God, she's got 60,000 left. She can't get through verse 1."
So you said that you love New York audiences. Is there a difference between New York, like seriously, a difference between a New York audience and a London audience?
There's not, I mean, they're both very welcoming, which is great. I have found a little bit like the cultural difference, perhaps if there is one, is like maybe American audiences to show that they're really enjoying being there, ha ha, and so they want to like laugh and clap and like let you know they're there. Whereas London audiences tend to be more reserved to go, I don't want to disturb her, just make sure that she's okay, and then at the end, you know,
well done,
excited in their praise.
Well done.
Yeah.
Does it ever distract you, the audience?
No. But I heard someone came and saw the show the other day, and they said they didn't want to laugh too loudly or too often because they didn't want to throw me off. Because there's a really specific timing with a lot of the lines. It's like 13.3 seconds here, and you know, so they were holding back their emotions. Like, oh no, you let rip. I've done this a number of times now.
What about Australian audiences?
Well, I've never had that live in the theater yet.
No, neither have I, and that scared me a little bit just now. I was like, we have security though. We have security. So are they like that? Is that an Aussie audience?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this really bawdy and loud, riotous.
Well, so much of the Succession cast after that incredible run of that show, so many of y'all bolted off for the stage. So you went off to do The Picture of Dorian Gray. Jeremy Strong did An Enemy of the People. Brian Cox did A Long Day's Journey into Night. J. Smith Cameron did Juno and the Paycock. And Kieran Culkin in Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah.
Is it a coincidence that you guys just dashed back to the boards?
Yeah, I think it speaks more to the casting in the first place, in that like the casting directors were looking for actors who could work in an ensemble, who maybe had roots in the theater or came from that. And you know, there's so many amazing actors in New York who do both. They just like, they tread the boards.
Here's your New York Open right there. There's all your some
yeah.
There. You guys keep in touch?
We do. We have a Succession thread.
A Succession thread?
Yeah.
That's a fun text chain.
It's nice. Yeah. Although there are two that run, and sometimes Alan forgets which one's the most up to date, and so he'll start on Succession Folks, but really we've been on Successionites for a while, so it's like you got to know them both.
Well, you don't need to text with Karen, because Karen's right down the street from you doing Glengarry Glen Ross, and he showed up. What night is this? Was your opening night? What are your previews?
It was maybe the third preview.
Preview. Here's a clip right here.
I'm taking pictures of your theater. I love you so much. Are you sick? I don't care. It's going really well. I can't wait to see yours.
Did you know that he was gonna? No idea?
No idea, which was it was so nice because I was actually really sick, and I was, you know, signing things and a little bit overwhelmed of where am I, and suddenly this face was like, yeah, it's a great show. I was like, what? Oh, it's like your older brother picking you up from kindergarten or something. Like,
he's got 2 kids, and you have a 2-year-old daughter, right? Do the kids get together and play?
Well, they have played together here in Brooklyn, but Kieran was busy getting an Oscar, so he just wasn't able to hang out. Yeah,
just keep you so busy.
Yeah,
when
so
that
we've
happens.
hung out, but he wasn't able to.
You grew up in Australia next to a national park, right? It was sort of seems like kind of idyllic.
It was great. It was so beautiful. It was, and you know, nature. I feel because of that, and maybe in Australian culture as well. I think nature is so a part of our lifestyle growing up, and it was fantastic living next to a national park.
But your daughter's not growing up next to a national park.
No, but she's fairly international at this point.
Oh,
In her almost 2 years.
Where has she lived in 2 years?
Wow, she's lived in London, and she's lived in Australia, and she's lived in New York.
Does she, at 2 years old, does she have a favorite?
We taught her to say New York City, baby. So, just to make sure
That'll come in handy. Well, Sarah, it's so lovely to see you again. Thank you for being here. The Picture of Dorian Gray is at the Music Box Theater right down the street. Sarah Snook, everybody. We'll be right back with Melinda French Gates.